Welcome everyone to the HQXtra ESeries presented by Command Digital Signage. We're at sunny Queensland at the moment at QR Raceway for round one of the CR International Enduro Cup. We are presently riding on the back of the Godfathers number 69 Harvey's towing services and mechanical vehicle, and we're doing our hot lap at the moment. So heading down into turn one, right-hander, 90-degree turn on the circuit called the paperclip, aptly named by the degrees of cornering. Down onto the right-hand next corner, exit over to the left-hand side here, ripple strip, open up the steering wheel and hopefully get a nice run down the back straight. Now, slipstreaming will be a big advantage here if you're following a couple of cars in the pack. Again, in qualifying, it can give you a few tenths of a second advantage. But as we head into the braking area here, about the 100-metre mark, we dip onto the brakes there, very, very hard, right-hand corner, on the ripple strip on the right-hand side, but on the exit, left hand, nice early entry onto the back straight. Hopefully get yourself a nice line up the straight here. Good opportunity to dive under the left-hand side here at the entry to the next complex, but at the same time, very tricky on its own. So we're hard on the brakes, turn over the left-hand side ripple strip here, bounce over there a little bit onto the right-hand side, steady yourself into the next right-hander, flat out, second gear, third gear change, and then we're on to our final run into the pit entry and onto the main straight. So brake heavily again at about 70-metre mark, nice and hard on the brakes, let the car roll itself around the centre of the apex, hard on the throttle, exit over the left-hand side, over onto the ripple strip, and that's our lap on Queensland Raceway. So good luck to everyone. Thank you very much for riding with us, and for Joe Andreski at Harvey's Towing and Mechanical Services. We're just starting off here at qualifying. It's preliminary results because our top 10 shootout is following qualifying, so that's coming up shortly. But as it stands at the moment, we had Paul Watkins over Jason Mole, Joel Heinrich and Michael Howlett in fourth place there. Brett Osborne did well in fifth, Simon Thomas, Mark Watkins, Brendan Madden came in eighth as a local driver, and Leighton Cranbrook and Brendan Healy there in 10th position. They'll be having a shootout shortly, but on to 11th position, and welcome Dave.
Thanks, mate. Really appreciate this. Righto, in 11th position, we've got Chris Mole. In 12th, Scott Andreski. In 13th, Bruce Heinrich. 14th, Simon Smith. He's back a little bit. Ken Wright in 15th. Matthew Reid in 16th. In 17th position, we've got Andrew Toff from Tasmania. Dave in position 18. Hollywood in position 19. And Chris Anscoff in position 20. Now, having a look through this, Brett Osborne is up and about. He's in 5th position, which is absolutely fantastic. Leighton Cranbrook is in 9th. He'll be doing well. So this E-Series here at Ipswich, or you can call it the paperclip, very, very interesting. But top 10 shootout will certainly change, I feel. Let's go and see, Ian.
No worries, absolutely. We ended up with 10th place was Brendan Healy in a HQXtra blue car. Mark Watkins ended up there in 9th place, so that's the 5th row of the grid there, and heading through to the 4th row.
Yeah, the 4th row has got to be really, really interesting. We've got Leighton Cranbrook there in 8th position, and in 7th position, we've got Joel Heinrich in the Speed Cafe car for this enduro race.
In the 3rd row, we ended up with Brett Osborne coming in at 6th place, and Simon Thomas there in the Dayglow, very bright coloured, but Brett Osborne in the Osborne Transports did really well in that qualifying top 10 shootout. Off to the next row.
All right, in 4th position, we've got Brendan Madden from Queensland doing extremely well. And Command Digital, we've got Jason Mole there, right beside him.
Absolutely, and the front row ended up a very tight battle between Paul Watkins, but Michael Howlett ended up getting the pole position there, and those times, even between 1st and 9th place, was incredibly tight with a hot lap. Was fantastic. So on to the racing, race one, here we go.
Righto, we're here at Ipswich, just waiting for the HQs to start their enduro. The E-Series Enduro, and a ripper start. Howlett a little bit behind. Geez, the 10 car's got a really, really good start. Chris Mole's gone through there, Simon Thomas going down to the turn one as they all stream over the start-finish line. As you can see, Ipswich, Queensland, E-Series, CNR International Enduro. This is all about 40 minutes of racing with a pit stop. So hang on, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a really, really good long race. We've got a couple that have just spun right at the back now. Also, Joel Heinrich has come off, going through turn one. He's going to go right the way back by the looks of it, almost back into fifth last. 39 seconds in already, Ian, and we've got Joel Heinrich with an issue, with a problem here at the this race, this Enduro.
Absolutely, yeah. Looks like Joel Heinrich might have had a bit of an assistance there going through turn two, and it's very easy to get pushed wide there, obviously with an angry pack of 30-odd HQs, 30-plus HQs. He's running Speed Cafe car, but at the end of, or two-thirds of the way through this first particular circuit there, it's getting pretty tight up the front, and it's all due to happen, I'm sure.
It certainly is. Brett Osborne has just gone past the cars on turn 8. Have a look at this. A bit of an incident. We've got Chris Moore, Leighton Cranbrook trying to get through there. There's a few Ainsworth and all the rest coming back onto the truck. And of course, Bucko. Bucko's always there. It's good to see him back. So he's in the beehive colours, you could say. HQXtra 22 car. Bruce Heinrich there. His car's looking good. Righto.
Looks like Hollywood may have actually given Chris Ainscough a bit of a turnaround there, and heading onto the straight at the first time. I think they're all pretty aggressive for the first race of a 40-minute enduro, and they're absolutely running like a sprint race. So it is a little bit new and a bit different to be able to sort of get into the headspace from 3 sprint races that they've normally been doing into an enduro, but hopefully they'll settle down soon and start realising that it's a little bit different this time around.
They certainly are. We've got Thomas and Madden. Madden's on the inside there. You can see him. But Howard has got a very, very good racing car, doing extremely well. There's Simon Thomas right up close. Madden's right in behind him. We've got Command Digital just in front of him. So, mate, we've got a lot to talk about in the next 40 minutes. Just have to wait and see. But I'll tell you what, it looks like a beautiful day up here for the series CNR International race.
Yeah, look, the Queensland Raceway at Ipswich there has put on a great show, and like you said, we've got Brandon Madden, Brett Osborne behind him, but it looks like they're trying to have a bit of an attack there on Simon Thomas. But this particular round's actually brought to us by Harvey's Transport and Mechanical. We had a little bit of an in-car there before, which is great to see, but as a local track, I'm sure that most of the Harvey's transport guys, Harvey towing guys, are all very well versed in every corner and every apex of every lap, and it looks like Howlett might have actually dropped through to third place, maybe even second. We've got Paul Watkins, who has scored pole over from England at the moment. He's sim racing over the other side of the world to come in and join us with the HQs, but he's doing a great job, and the field sort of gets spread out as it goes along. We do actually have a pit stop in this particular race, which will end up being a little bit of a strategy card that will get played out as the race goes on, and it looks like Andrew Toff might have had a bit of a spin there too.
Yes, he certainly has. The Tasmanian trying to get used to the warm climate, you could say. Harvey Towing, thank you very much for being the sponsor for this round. They're also, I understand, Harvey Towing also going down to Wakefield next weekend. So it'll be good to see how the guys go down there, Ian, also. But as you can see, Watkins is doing an absolutely blinding job for an old man. He's certainly toweling up his son and most of the other guys at the moment. One car's there on the infield. We're not quite who that was. Not quite seeing who that was.
It was Mark Alfonsi, one of the Western Australian drivers, actually. So, yeah, he's ended up somehow in the infield there.
Yeah, way off the track. He's probably having a hamburger or a lunch, I reckon. He's that far off the track there at the moment. But as you can see, it is really, really good. Watkins, we've got Cranbrook, CNR Racing, the Rainbow Warrior car, you could say there, of Thomas is doing absolutely fantastic. The 76 car there, the Victorian. So as they go screaming over the start-finish line, so they're on lap three already. And it's looking good. The track's looking absolutely fantastic. You know, the old Queensland Raceway, you don't know whether they call it Ipswich or the paperclip. I understand they're going to do a fair bit of development there over the next 12, 18 months to change the shape of that track, Ian. So HQs have got it for this weekend. You can see here, 40-minute enduro, and it's absolutely brilliant. The weather is good, the cars are good, and the field is starting to spread out. Like you said, the top 10 shootout and also the top 10 very, very close.
Yeah, look, the footage that we're getting here, we've got Brendan Healy there and Matty Reid. We've got Walker Jr. Mark there, and it looks like they might even be getting hounded there by Super Cheap, HQ Holden for Bruce Heinrich. So it's really getting quite tight in the infield there. And again, we've sort of got positions probably at the tail end of the top 10 here at the moment. So competitive all the way through, but you've got to be mindful of how the car's actually going to react. You really don't want to start sort of wearing the tyres out or heating them up excessively to begin with, and that'll be a part of where your pit stops might end up being a bit of a joker card at some point. So if Matty Reid or Mark Watkins here is sort of somewhere in the middle of the pack and using up a lot of the tyres and a lot of the car's energy, they may even be better off sort of pulling into the pits a little bit earlier than some of the others. We end up with about a 35-second pit, which is a mandatory time that we end up sort of spending in and stationary in the pits. So depending on sort of how that pit stop ends up sort of going, whereabouts in the race itself can be an advantage or a disadvantage depending on where you come in or out of traffic.
Right, okay, just having a look, there's a bit of cloud cover up there. I'm just trying to work out sort of the heat of the day. It's probably about 24, 25 degrees, I would say, with a cloud you can see there, but you can see that it's blue sky as well. We've got Thomas, Watkins and Jason Mole there, we can see on TV. So everyone's having a good run. We had a little bit of carnage sort of in the first sort of 39, 40 seconds. But everything seemed to spread out a little bit now. Everything seems to be going quite okay. We're 7 minutes in, so we're on lap 4, almost lap 5 coming up. But good track. It is flat. She is a paperclip. You can certainly see that. So this E-Series here brought to you by Harvey's Towing, our major sponsor, CNR International Enduro E-Series. Thank you very, very much, guys. We really appreciate that. And of course, most importantly, Command Digital doing an absolutely ripper of a job.
Yeah, look, Jason Mole there, who's stalking them in third position, both as much as what Michael Howard would be thinking championship-wise. Although Paul's out the front here at the moment, he's not in the championship hunt at this stage from a couple of bad rounds. But that said, you've still got sort of second and third position there that are very much in the hunt for the championship itself. So they'd be a little bit mindful to try and make sure that they're not getting caught up in some incidents. And I know that the mid-packers, from the marks on the road and a few of the spins that have occasioned around the circuit, that there'd actually be some incidents there during that first few hot laps there. But the guys at the front, they're still changing positions, they're driving hard. It's really hard to get a good steady pace on, particularly if you're in the middle of this little tussle there, and Jason, I think, sort of taking his time and lining it up as it goes along.
Certainly is. Walker's doing an absolutely fantastic job there. Well, Bruce Heinrich, he's got a little bit sideways. Oh, he's got it totally out of control. Command Digital car will whip up the inside of him now and get straight past Bruce Heinrich. It goes back. Nicholas Jackson talking to him. He's got issues and problems. He's still trying to get the feel of the car on the racetrack. He tells me that the simulator, what he's got there, he's having a bit of foot to brain to eye contact issues. I think most of us think he's got that issue every day when he goes racing, but he's out there having fun, mate, and that's what the idea is to bring what talent you got and try and get it better. Oh, Smith and Hollywood have had a big coming together.
It was Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood was running there with his son, and I think he might have overcooked it a little bit and tagged the back of one of the preceding cars. So halfway through that, he's ended up looping, and like you said, Simon's come halfway through there and nearly ended up with a nose-to-nose collision. So yes, you're right, it is a bit tricky with these sims and trying to get the feel of where you are, and looks like Wayne might have actually just fallen off the circuit again there too, so he might be bringing himself into the pits. He does.
Yes, he certainly is bringing himself into the pitch. You can see that.
So this
Brambles cars there in the pits.
I think he had some technical issues. He actually had some dramas during the warm-up earlier in the day that might have ended up being the issue that he's got right now. So I don't think he'll actually be able to complete the rest of the race there. But in front of Wayne Healy there, and it looks like we've got Chris Bucko. Might have just fallen off at the end of turn 2 there, halfway through the apex of that corner. He's drifted off there a little bit. So you can see how tough it is there. And then you've got Pedro Marusic in front of Nicholas Jackson there. So a great slipstream down the back, and I wonder if Nick's actually going to tuck it under. No, he's holding his space, and he's just going to try and follow around the circuit there.
All right, now these E-Series HQ Holdens, ladies and gentlemen, what you've got to understand, it's a 6-cylinder Holden 202, single carby, the exhaust is free. They run a 3-5-5 diff ratio, so getting to speeds around about the 5, 6, 5, 7 down the front chute. And I'm back into second gear a couple of times around the corners. The Pettis suspension kit works extremely well. The Kenda tyres are absolutely fantastic. And of course, we've got Clive cams. These engines are measured, checked, and then sealed. So you can race anywhere in Australia knowing that what you've got in your car is almost identical to what he's got beside you. And that is so important with this category. Back in the mid-90s, there was over 600 HQs racing throughout Australia. We're down to around about 176. There's a heap of cars in the shed. So if you know of ones in the shed, let's get them back out. Let's get the numbers back up. Because I tell you what, this is the biggest one-make series in the world. And we're watching it here at Queensland Raceway at Ipswich. Beautiful circuit, Ian. Fantastic to see.
Absolutely, and what's brilliant about this particular E-Series is the people that we've had involved in the series and been able to actually compete with the regular drivers. So 95% of the field are actually current racing competitive drivers, including 3 national champions and 10 state champions. So we've got quite a grid there, but at the same point, we've actually been able to include a few people that are involved in the sport. Now, 2 of which are actually in a car that we were watching duel with Chris Ainscoe previously, and that's actually some of our flag marshals at some of the circuits there. So we've got Brad Lee and his father Dave are actually racing in the series, and their flag is. So it's great to give them a little bit of an opportunity to get on the track, and the amount of hard work that they put in to be able to let us all race. And without all the stewards and the volunteers and everyone that's involved in all these race meetings, they just won't happen. So a big plug for them, and a big thanks to everyone that does do that. But at the same point, we've been able to sort of involve them in the series here too. So that's great, as well as Riccardo Benvenuti, who's one of our photographers in New South Wales, a very long-standing gentleman around the racetrack, and an absolutely fantastic character, and it's great to have him involved in the series too. So there's some people that wouldn't normally get the opportunity to go door to door, and we've definitely got that here. And we've got Joel Heinrich running against his father, Bruce, there in the Super Cheap car, with Joel in front in the Speed Cafe vehicle. So Joel's obviously coming back through after that first lap incident, and looks like he might be getting followed by Chris Mole there between the 3 of those cars. And again, they look absolutely incredible. So Speed Cafe, Super Cheap Auto, Command Digital, great looking cars, great drivers too. They're all absolutely fast pedalers, and yeah, it's great to sort of see them all involved.
Yes, we certainly can see that Howard and Walker are way out in front, doing extremely well. Really good ones. When we're talking more about these HQ Holdens, we want to get more people involved. It's a single carby, so they have the same carby on that Mum and Dad used to have in their cars in 1971 to 74. We rejet them, we change the distributors, we do a lot of things to make these more reliable. It's 98 fuel. Yes, the fuel you buy from the servo is what we use. Now, around this track here, we would use around about 1 litre, 1.1 litres per lap. At Phillip Island, around about 1 litre a lap. Up at Wakefield, around about half to 3/4 of a litre a lap, ladies and gentlemen. So that gives you a bit of an idea. They do use a lot of fuel. We have to, because of the compression ratio we've got, the CC of what we have to have in the cylinder head to top of the piston, try and look after these engines and these cars. Four-door sedan, and it's absolutely brilliant. Now, Bruce Heinrich's just gone through the inside there of Chris Moll. We've got Andrew Toff there, the Tasmanian, a little bit further back. But we're certainly giving Bruce Heinrich a lot of TV camera time, and I hope that's not because he's going so slow. Tongue-in-cheek, Bruce, tongue-in-cheek, mate. You're having fun. For an old bloke, you're doing well.
No.
As they all come through.
Joel's dad's doing very well. So, like you said, he's being hounded by Chris Moll, but behind them, it looks like we've actually got Kenny Wright, who hasn't figured much in this particular race meeting. I think he's been busy the last couple of weeks and hasn't maybe had the quality practice time that some of the other guys further towards the front have done. But again, fantastic. And we've got some in-cars sort of coming up with Matty Reid. Looks like he's having an attack on Brett Osborne there from the Osborne's transport vehicle. I've got Leighton Cranbrook potentially coming back out of the pits after this. I'm not sure how the cold tyres versus the warm tyres ends up sort of going along this back straight. But I'll tell you what, it'll end up being pretty tight there. You've got Joel actually following the previous two coming onto the back straight, and it's almost for position there, and Brett's ended up coming a little bit wide off the exit, and he's opened the door up, and Joel maybe even try and slip through. We've got four going down the back straight, which we've got another two following nose to tail there. So we've got 6 HQs pushing into the one corner all at once. Joel Heinrich ends up pushing a little bit wide there on the exit, and I wonder if that'll give Brett a good clean run on the nice line around the outside there. Again, like we said, we've got Leighton has come out of the pit, so we'll probably throttle off, and he's done the right thing there and kept out of everyone's way. And at this stage, he's a lap down, but that won't matter when he comes back, sort of back on the pace and starts getting some laps in before the other guys end up sort of getting their pit stop done too. But like we said, we've got Kenny Wright there following that hunting pack, and I'm sure he's hoping that the guys keep doing what they're doing right now and slowing each other down by the fractions of a second each lap, so he's got the chance to do a bit of an attack. And talking about Leighton Cranbrook, he's had 12 months. We're talking about resurrecting cars and bringing them back onto the track. Leighton spent 12 months actually rebuilding his current car, which is the livery that he's running there at the moment. I saw some images there that were a bit of a restart on when he started that process. So a very clever and timely opportunity to sort of show the amount of effort that the guys in the racing category put into these particular cars and how much effort it takes to put them onto the track.
Certainly is. Here we go. We've got Brett Osborne there, right behind Joel Heinrich in the Speed Cafe car. So this will be very, very interesting. Tight. Bruce Heinrich is right behind him. So we've got champion after champion after champion. So we've got all of them there at the moment. And it's absolutely fantastic. We're almost halfway through this Enduro. Now, we were talking a little bit earlier, and you just brought it up then. They've got about a 35-second pit stop that they all have to have. So this will be very interesting. We've got cars that haven't pitted, cars that have, and they're all of a sudden starting to get mixed up a little bit. You know, a lap down, are they a lap down? Well, they won't be. With about 5 minutes to go, everyone will know sort of where they are, who they are. We've just got to make sure that all these guys do their pitting correctly. It is so important to get that seconds down spot on, so you're not in the pits for too long, and you certainly don't want to be in the pits not long enough, Ian, because Absolutely. If that happens, mate, you've got issues.
And look, it is really tricky, and it's new for all of us that are competing to be able to get into the pits, and it looks like a couple of them are doing it right now. To get into the pits and be slowed up in enough time before you can actually get onto that grid, that pit line there, before you get yourself a penalty. So even during practice where people were testing how the whole system works, there were definitely some people that ended up getting some penalties. So they were testing their limits and the speedos and everything else involved. There's a 40-kilometre speed limit that's imposed. Each of the pits themselves have their own pit controller. So what you can't see is what the driver can do, and they've actually got a lot of grids to be able to sort of do their pit stop in. So when they actually get into the grids, they're positioned accordingly. So you've got a selected spot to be able to do it, and it's very easy to overshoot it. Well, like you said, maybe the last thing you want to do is go too quick through pit lane and get yourself a penalty, or at the same point, if you've left a little bit too soon before your car's ready to go, you may well end up with a penalty as well. But it looks like Michael Howlett's there's getting a really great run out the front. You've got Jason Mole there in second position, so we might have had Paul actually do a bit of a pit stop yet. We've got Hollywood, in theory, the third car there, but definitely not in position. Here we go, we've got Jason Mole pulling into the pits as well, which leaves Michael Howlett, the birthday boy. Actually, it was Michael's birthday while this race is actually occurring, so he's given up his time to come and play with the boys and do some racing, so it was good to see that too.
It certainly is. And talking about Harvey's Towing as well as a sponsor for this round, because it's up there in Queensland, Harvey Towing. I've seen Joe Andreski there, there's Madden, there's Simon Andreski there as well, sorry, Scott Andreski. So there's a pretty good field of cars. It looks like there's 32, 33 cars, Ian, is that right?
Yeah.
So for this first Enduro, so up here at Ipswich, the next one is at sunny Victoria at Phillip Island. That's a 40-minute race, and then our final race, closing out the E-Series for this year, is Bathurst. We've got a 60-minute race, so that'll be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, look, from being in the driver's seat for this particular event, the first 5-10 minutes goes particularly slow, and you're thinking this is going to be a long race and a hard slog, and then you get into the groove a little bit and you start doing laps and laps and laps, and you're thinking about what else is around you and how hard you should be battling certain people, and you can't always get the vision as to who's around you. You can see a car sort of coming, but you can't get the natural sort of idea of who it would be that may or may not be sort of catching you. Are they for position or are they not? And at the same time, you don't want to hold anyone up or cause an incident either. So there's a lot of things going through your mind. Then all of a sudden you end up sort of 30-odd minutes into it, and you're on the run to the flag, and it might be time to start attacking again. So it's it's a bit of a battle, but at the same time, it's really great to be able to do it too. So the in-car shots of all of these cars here are absolutely fantastic. You've got Mark Watkins there and Chris Ainscoe that have both had a bit of a spin, or a half spin at least, in some of the earlier laps. So they're probably pushed back a little bit and hoping to gain some time back from where they would have ended up sort of coming earlier in the race there. So you got Nick Jackson, the Godfather himself, Mr. Joe Andritsky. So he's again a very local driver, and a big shout out to the Harvey's transport guys. They're absolutely fantastic and brilliant for the sport. So they're looking to try and make a good run of this particular event as well.
Yeah, we certainly have, just on the camera there, a couple of has-beens there. We've got Joel Heinrich and Brett Osborne there. So I'm just trying to work out, they're probably in around, I'm not sure, 7th, 8th position at the moment. Remember, Joel Heinrich came off on turn 1 of lap 1 and went right the way back. So that'll certainly hurt him. But with this Enduro, it'll be interesting to see where these cars finish, because we've had 2 or 3 cars that are really knocking on the door of 2nd, 3rd and 4th. We've got Howlett's got a little bit of a gap at the moment, but there's a lot of changing. Kenny Wright's not up where he's supposed to be. Thomas is back a little bit as well. Yeah, there we go, the Godfather. Looks like Smith's gone out to the infield. He's got issues. Oh, he looks like he's blowing a motor. Looks like Smith has blown a motor there. He's revved it way too hard. There's smoke pouring out underneath his bonnet. But is that Howlett? Is that Howlett coming into the pits?
Yeah, Hallett's doing a pit stop there, and you can actually see a few of the cars that have been able to sort of continue, but you've got, pit coming through there at the moment, so he's actually stacked up behind Healy there in front of him in the HQXtra car, so he'll actually make maybe even lose a couple of seconds in that particular spot, sort of getting to his spot appropriately anyway. You've got Nick Jackson behind Michael Howlett there in position, so he might end up sort of getting out in front of him as well. But it might be guys like Kenny Wright that we're not seeing at the front of the grid yet, but he may actually be driving a more careful race. The tyres themselves may actually be lasting a little bit longer, and the fuel load actually changes the way that the characteristics of the car work too. So the greater the fuel, obviously the more that the rears will start getting going off a little bit more so. So if you pit halfway through the race, you're sort of splitting your odds either way, but some of the guys might choose to pit earlier, some of the guys might choose to pit later, and then they've got fresher tyres with a lighter fuel load, and the potential could be that you can actually make up some positions there. So you just never know. If we end up sort of getting a car stuck somewhere on the circuit or somewhere in the sand traps there, we might even actually end up with a safety car there too. So
talking about a sand trap there, I can actually see you stuck in a sand trap at the moment. It's got Ned written all over your car. I know you didn't want to say it, but I will, mate. What are you doing out there? Finding a few marbles, are you? Finding a few marbles.
Yeah,
Let me talk, mate. Scott Andreski goes through. There's Howard. There's Leighton Cranbrook there coming right behind Howard. We're up to the 25-minute marker, and there's no excuses, eh? And I can physically see it on the screen, mate. So you just suck it up, Princes, and keep going. But we've got some really, really good racing. You can see in the background there, because there's paperclip and all the rest, you can see other cars, who's near who, what's happening, what's going on. But I tell you what, mate, keep laughing and enjoy what we are seeing. This is guys having a fair dinkum go up here. CNR International, fantastic, great people. Command Digital, unbelievable. Thank you guys very, very much for what you've done. It's absolutely brilliant. And of course, Joe Andreski, Harvey's towing. Thank you.
Yeah, look, exactly what you were mentioning there. So CR International's come on board to help us promote the enduro portion of the series here, which again just changes it up a little bit from the way that the guys have been running the rest of the year. So 3 sprint rounds are very, very different to a 1 single endurance race. And again, that's sort of a little bit of a different challenge in itself too. But the way that the CR International's approached it, the way that Command Digital have approached it, there's so many guys. You've got Osborne's Transport, like you said there, and Harvey's Towing. You've got some fantastic groups of people and sponsors that have been involved. You've got Speed Cafe that did some articles for us earlier on, and hopefully we can end up building a relationship moving forwards as well. As you kindly pointed out, I did end up on the exit of one of those turns there with the sand trap. I got such a good run out of the pits there that I didn't quite take the apex of the corner, having entered a little bit too quick, but I'm running a Ned Whiskey livery for that one as well. So again, we've been able to introduce some people into the category and into the series that may not have had the opportunity to do so as well. So support the people that support the cars. Anyone that you see that is driving around and running the liveries that they're running, they're either legitimate copies, like Brett Osborne's car is a beautiful, beautiful copy of a legitimate car. You've got all the Harvey's towing cars look absolutely fantastic and legitimate as well. So you've got Brendan Matters there off to the left there. Speed Cafe cars, a mock one, so it's been one that's been created for the series too. And again, you've got every other car in the field that are supporting and promoting people that are involved in the sport. So keep that in mind. But other than that, the way this racing is going, we've got these 3 guys that are absolutely hammer and tongs here. That, like you've mentioned, they're all state and national champions in their own right. We've got quite a good tussle with almost 30 minutes on the clock there, which leaves us just over 10 minutes to go, and some pit stops sort of starting to come, and we'll find out sort of how that all positions itself soon enough.
We certainly will, and just working out in calculation, we've got 7 laps to go, so this will be very interesting to see what happens, what's going on. We're just trying to work out who hasn't pitted yet, and this is going to be a ripper of a finish. We've got 11.5 minutes to go there at Queensland Raceway, or Ipswich, some people might know it as. Simon Thomas, you can see him out there in ahead of these 3 that we're having a look at the moment. We've got the little angry ant, Joel Heinrich. Then we've got Madden behind him. Then we've got Brett Osborne, the 86 Osborne cars. There you go, looking straight at the windscreen of Brett, seeing what he can do. Here he goes. He's got pulled to the inside, is he? Oh, we don't know. We've got Joel Heinrich. Madden, always after a tussle. Look at Madden, he's gone down the inside there of young Heinrich. Can he hang on now? Brett's having a go at him. They're side by side down the back chute. This will be interesting. You can physically see side by side. Joel Heinrich's in front. But no, once again, Madden comes across the front of Osborne. You can see there 0.137 of a second in qualifying between those two guys, so there's nothing in it. They're really relying on each other to be a gentleman, and that's what HQ Racing is all about, family orientated, door handle, bumper to bumper. And once again, Thomas, Rainbow Warrior, doing extremely well. We can see Chris Mole, Anscoff there, Walker, just trying to work out where they all are, just trying to work out sort of the top half a dozen at the moment. And look at that, we're down to around about 6 laps left, Ian. So we're starting to get to the trophy end of this race up here at Queensland Raceway.
Absolutely, and you mentioned there the families that are involved. You got Bruce Heinrich, obviously with his son Joel, that is competitive, as I won't say as old, as less young as Bruce is, but again you've got the Ainscoes. There's 2 drivers in that particular family. You've got following him, you've got the Mark Watkins and Paul Watkins family. You've got the Andreski family. We've got the Osbornes that have been around a long time with the family, and the rest of the guys. You've got Darren Meyer involved in that sort of family there too, which is absolutely fantastic for New South Wales there. You've got some 2 of the Mole brothers. You've got Jason Mole and Chris Mole. So it's family orientated, and it's great to see it. I'm doing some donuts in the middle there.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ian, like you stop talking and start driving, I think might help, mate. You're off the track again. So to just wait and see, at 9.5 minutes to go, you can see that, ladies and gentlemen. We'll make it 8.5. And Ian McLean finally found the bitumen, mate. It is faster. Stay with us, Ian. Now Thomas is in. So Thomas now goes back through the field. This will be interesting to see what happens. 35 seconds, I understand, Ian. 35 seconds they have to stay in the pits for, so this will be very, very tight. Hollywood, the 99, Kenny Wright, going over the start-finish line now, and let's see where the Thomas car comes out. Walker's gone past there, so he's done his one as well. So this will be very tight because 8 minutes to go. So all of a sudden, these guys have got to start knuckling down, concentrating, and doing some real good qualifying laps.
Absolutely, and you've got Howlett just doing a fantastic job out the front there, and I'm assuming that he's on his own at this point in time, that he's got a nice clear track in front of him. There may well be someone that's even further up the field yet. I can't see that at this point, but what they are doing is some really fast laps. He's got some clean air both in front of him and behind him, which is obviously going to make that a little bit easier to be able to sort of do as that goes along too. So there was a few cars that I did see that were parked in the pits there. So when the cars themselves do actually expire on the track, or there's damage that's too great to carry on, they can actually pit the cars, and basically you're out for the remainder of the race. So when we did see that particular in-car shot there going through the pits, there was a few cars that definitely won't be finishing the race, and that's part of this battle. At this stage, we might be down to sort of below the 30 mark, having started above the 30 mark for our grid position. So the number 7 Network Couriers car from Western Australia, the birthday boy himself, Michael Howlett, has just been doing a fantastic effort. He's either been on the podium or winning pretty much at every event that we've been to. So he's had as much luck as everyone else, and sometimes he's sort of been on the receiving end again, as most of the drivers sort of have done. But very much to his credit, what he has been able to do is just results have been consistent. He's been regularly up the front. And it just goes to show what ends up sort of happening when you create your own luck. Although it's a green car, something Moffat used to sort of say, that motorsport's not just about luck, but you make your own luck as well.
Yeah, you certainly can, mate. Now, just having a look through the field for qualifying hours, there's a couple of guys that aren't in this race. John Baxter, he's not there. The Chook man, David Camilleri, he's not there either now. He's normally been right up near the front as well. So both of these guys aren't there for this round. So I'm sure that they want to be coming back for the next Enduro at Phillip Island, sunny Phillip Island, I hope. So, yeah, and there is a few other guys as well. I'm just going through the field as we talk. Righto, here we go. Less than 5.5 minutes to go, or 3 laps, whatever comes first. And we will see who is going to be first, second, third, fourth, fifth, who has done the correct pit stop, and where they finish. Because like you said, mate, we've still got 13 cars on the lead lap, 13 plus cars on the lead lap. So Ian McLean, Jason Mole, Chris Mole. Look at that for some footage from taking. Absolutely brilliant. I love this shot. It's like the cameraman hanging out of the boot as you go down into that sharp right-hand corner. Yes, it's a cameraman. I'll say it's a cameraman. Looks absolutely brilliant. There's some great shots. Have a look at this one. He's hanging off the guard, mate. There's one out the back here. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, once again, Ian McLean, look at that.
Yeah, look, not sure about the OH&S side of things. You're exactly right there, but yeah, I'm starting to come up on the back there of Brett Osborne, and then at the same point in time, you've got Mole coming behind in the Command Digital car. So, like you said, the footage that we get out of these cars is absolutely incredible, and the clarity and the realism. It's not real racing, we all understand that, but at the same point, we're able to catch that. And talking about catching that, I think Nick Jackson might have been doing his best to have a half a lose and not make it a complete one. But at this stage, we've got Michael Howlett starting to come up to some lap drivers there. I'm sure that these ones will be going down a lap knowing that he's been absolutely unfaltered all the way through this. He hasn't had a tag, he hasn't had a lose, he hasn't had anything go wrong. He's just been doing consistent laps, and he's had a nice clear run of it. So at this stage, absolutely brilliant. Nick Jackson almost being followed off the track there by Scott Andreski there too. So I think Nick might have had his eyes in the rear vision mirror there to make sure that there was no dramas with Scott sort of coming through. But again, we've got Brett Osborne and a few of the guys sort of starting to tussle there. So fantastic all the way through the grid with, like you said, less than 5 minutes. So we've only got a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, we certainly have. And as you know, that turn 2, 3 and 4, mate, they are, you got to brake hard, you got to slow the car down, you got to turn it in. The tyres are now gooey, the Kenda tyres. The brakes will be starting to get very, very spongy now, but we've still got the best racing drivers in Australia in HQ Holdens. Whoa, Thomas McLean and Reed, bit of a lock up there. Geez, I'd like to have a look at a replay of that. I reckon that could have been you that caused all that carnage. Mate, we'll have to just wait and see, but certainly that has upset a couple of the drivers that slowed them up. So at the moment we've got Braden Howlett first and second. So this will be, we've got less than 2 laps to go, mate, and let's just wait and see. The weather is good, the HQs are racing, the E-Series racing, brought to you by Harvey's Towings, Command Digital, and of course C&O International for the Enduro E-Series. This is the first of the Enduros here at Ipswich Raceway. Then we go to Phillip Island and then Bathurst. Bathurst is 60 minutes or 1 hour, whatever comes first. Ian, a minute and a half to go.
Counting down, and look, we've got the, like you said, the first round of the CR International Enduro Championship, or the Cup within the Cup, happening at the moment. A quick shout out to Trevor Penny, the owner of CR International, that has ended up doing some damage to his foot and was hoping to compete. He's been gearing up for a run at Bathurst in his own sim. We had a car created and everything, and sadly that won't be the case now. So wish you well, Trev. All the best in your recovery, and we hope to get you at the track later on. But at this stage, we're down to the closing laps with Michael Howlett, again, sort of closing down on a few of the guys up the front there. In front of him are lap drivers, I would assume, at this stage, knowing how well it has been going. Like you said, we've got the championship happening around us as well. We've got Jason Mole sort of happening there too. He's in second position. The two guys between Howlett and Mole are definitely fighting it out for the overall series. At this point in time, we've got 2 rounds to go, and we're all looking forward to Bathurst. No matter how the rest of the championship's gone, I'm pretty sure that a race win at Bathurst, like in real life, would mean more than anything else too. So we're all gearing up for that, and hopefully it all goes very, very quickly. So running to the flag now, looks like Howlett is on his last lap, last couple of corners. Let's see how it goes.
He certainly is. You can see a really good camera angle there as how it goes through. The car looks like it hasn't been touched at all. So he's had another rip-roaring of a race. This 40-minute one here. We've got Bruce Heinrich, we've got the Godfather, we've got Madden. This will be, oh, geez, okay. Is it going to be checkered flag now? I'm just trying to work out who is leading.
Looks like Howlett over Mahal, and then I know that Madden was in front there, but we wonder what the official results will be. So let's just get straight into those results right now, and we'll see how we all ended up. And you'll see as we take a look at the race results as they appear, the race finished as we have had a few adjustments to the finishing order, with Brandon and Scott receiving adjustments due to pit timing issues, as well as Joel Heinrich coming up a few positions relative to the rest of the field. So with race results finished, we ended up with Michael Howlett taking the win there over Jason Mole and Joel Heinrich. Brandon Madden in 4th, Brett Osborne 5th, Chris Mole 6th, Simon Thomas 7th, Matty Reid 8th, Scott Andreski 9th, and Kenny Wright in 10th. With some slight adjustments to the timing there. So overall positions as the Endurance Series ends up commencing, we've ended up with 200 points down in sliding scale back down to the final positions there at 25th. But overall championship points, we've got Michael Howlett leading the race there with 1,930, Joel Heinrich 1,858, Jason Mole 1,790, and Brandon Madden 1,736. Kenny Wright in 5th place there. So congratulations to everyone. At this point, we're heading off to Phillip Island as being the next round of the championship. Very, very close battle so far, and very much looking forward to the next round. That's the round 1 of the CR International Endurance Cup, falling within the HQXtra ESeries presented by Command Digital. Thank you very much to Harvey's Towing for bringing us this particular round, and we're looking forward to Phillip Island, Dave.
We certainly are, mate, and I just can't wait. We've gone from the top end where it's beautiful and hot to Phillip Island. That'll be wild and woolly, you can certainly say that. Thank you all very, very much. I really enjoy it.
No worries. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Phillip Island, here we come.